said to love yourself. Not like that, like this. Hello, welcome back to a new video. In this video, I wanted to share some daily self-love practices. These are some of the things that I practice on a daily basis, and I thought maybe they could give you some ideas, maybe inspire you if you're at the start of your own self-love or personal growth journey, or maybe they're just some things that you already do or you've kind of fallen off track with and you need a little bit of a reminder. If you're new to self-love, the concept might seem a little bit out there, or it might even seem a little bit narcissistic on the surface, but really what self-love is all about is having a regard for your own happiness and general well-being, because I always say you can't fill from an empty cup. So the more you work on loving yourself, the easier it is to love others, and in that self-love journey you're able to help yourself to grow mentally, physically and spiritually. So I'm going to start here with the sort of, I'd say like this is the base layer, probably the most important one for me personally. I feel like if I don't have this, the other things crumble, and that is a positive self-talk. Now, when I say positive self-talk, I'm not saying it's not like this toxic positivity, like, oh, we can only think happy thoughts all the time. It's normal that you're gonna go through down periods, you know, life happens, bad things happen. But the idea of positive self-talk is just talking to yourself in a respectful way. And sometimes you might not even realize that this is something that you don't do if you don't do it, but it can just be a habit that you can fall into of maybe not speaking to yourself with the kindness that you deserve. So the easiest way to explain this, or the easiest way that I connect with this, is by connecting to my inner child. So through therapy, I did a lot of work where I connected to my inner child. And before that, before I had therapy and I went through that journey, I would not have even questioned the idea. I would have been like, yeah, whatever, that's fine, like inner child, you know, just not really thought much of the concept. But the more I connected with my inner child, the more I actually thought consciously about how I speak to myself, because as soon as you picture that inner child version of you, it's a lot harder to speak to yourself with disrespect, because you're basically speaking to a child. And the easiest way, I'd say, to connect with your inner child is to think about scenarios as they arrive and ask your inner child. You can do this through journaling or just through meditation or whichever practice works for you. Just asking how your inner child feels about that scenario. It can be tricky to navigate at first. It might even bring up emotions. I know for me personally, it took a while to connect with my inner child. I'm not saying this is some quick thing. Maybe I can do another video in that to go in deeper into that. But once I was able to have more of that connection and I actually opened up to that side of my inner being, it was revolutionary, shall we say, for my own personal growth, because I just kind of started to look at myself in a very different way, and I started to connect with that inner child version of me and just kind of nurture it a lot more. And it really did change my internal dialogue. So, you know, it could be in all different aspects, but say for me, something that I've struggled with in the past is speaking to myself nicely about working hard enough. That's been a thing, like, oh, you should do more. But once I think about that inner child version of me, I kind of want to give her a little bit more praise. I want to lift her up a little bit more, speak to her with that bit more compassion. I know if you're new to this, the concept can seem so abstract, but really the more you dive into it, the more it can be so healing. And if you are someone who struggles with negative self-talk, I couldn't recommend it enough, because if you think about the child version of you, you will not want to speak to them with anything but kindness. So for me, I always try and reconnect to that, because of course I still can slip into that negative self-talk, and I think you're speaking to your child here. But as soon as I picture that child version of me and I connect with her, I just want to, you know, give her a hug, give her some compassion, give her some love, and that really helps flip around that negative self-talk to something a little bit more positive. Just being really conscious of how you're speaking to yourself and making sure that whatever your mood or mindset is at that particular moment, you're just being compassionate to yourself and speaking to yourself with that little bit of kindness. The next one is movement. For me, movement is one of my biggest self-love practices. I feel like all of these, I'm going to say this is one of my biggest, but honestly, I feel like a different person, shall I say, when movement is in my life and movement isn't in my life. So for me, movement is, obviously I'm moving right now, but movement is anything that is getting my body out and about, working outside my normal realm of day to day, just sitting, breathing, living. For me, it kind of ticks off multiple boxes, because I know when I'm going for a walk, walking my dog Larry, I love it. My husband and I go out for about an hour walk every day with the dog, and it's so nice. We're really lucky. We've got nature on our doorstep, so we go on a long walk with the dog, and it's just nice to get out and about, get some fresh air. So not only am I getting to move my body, but I'm getting to connect with nature at the same time. When I'm doing yoga, I love that feeling of feeling strong and flexible. It's like a little bit of a meditation at the same time, and I just feel like I'm really taking care of my body. And obviously over time it has such a big impact, and I know the difference from when I'm not doing that, because I do go through periods. I recently went through a period of not doing that, and I just feel the impact mentally. And I know that if I was giving advice to a friend, for example, and they felt down, I would say, you know, go for a walk. Like, it's really helpful. And sometimes we need to flip that around to ourselves, like what's a helpful and loving things to do for ourselves. And obviously it's one of those things that over time it gets easier, it gets a part of your routine. And for me, yeah, moving my body just feels like I'm getting the most out of my body. I'm having appreciation for what my body can do. Obviously for each person, movement will look different depending on your abilities, but having appreciation for what your body can do and really just making the most out of it. So this one sort of glides on from the last one, and this one is nourishing my body. I feel like food is such a self-love practice. It's like food is love. Like, who grew up in a household where food was a big thing? Me. And you know, I was fortunate enough to have a mum who cooked some delicious meals, and it's always been one of those things, like, it's just, you know, you give someone a big plate of delicious magnificent food. I'm getting myself hungry here. It's like when you give someone a plate of food that you've put your love and compassion into making, it's just an ultimate, like, here you go, you know, you're nourishing someone else. I personally enjoy to cook for other people, so, you know, self-love practice, cook for myself. We went away recently and it was so nice to get away. It was like our first proper holiday in 3 years, and I had the best time. However, what I did miss was home cooking, and when I got home I could not wait. Like, it was like sad. My husband and I were saying, oh, when we get home, what are we going to cook? It was like looking forward to having that food to really nourish your body. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the movement, because I feel like when you're moving your body and you're feeling good, you want to feed it from the inside out as well, to give yourself that energy, to make yourself feel loved from the inside out. So yeah, nourishing my body is definitely a big one. My notes, this next one makes me laugh. This is a little bit more surface layer, but I've wrote taking care of my skin suit. So for me, I'm not my body, but I may as well take care of this body whilst I'm having this human experience in it. So for me, a big part of my daily love, or one of my daily self-love practices, is to indulge in skincare. I love skincare. If you've been around here for a while or you follow me on Instagram, you know skincare is kind of my jam. I do love it, and it's been a big part of my life since I was in my teens. I've just always enjoyed that ritual, because it really does feel like a ritual to me, to just take it's like the massage, it's the cleanse, it's just all of it. And I've really enjoyed the process. And again, I think it comes back to that sort of inner child thing, where maybe I wasn't into skincare as a child, but it's just kind of giving me that me time. Like, you deserve this, you deserve to have this time taken care of, this pampering, however, you know, small or big it is. Sometimes for me it's like 10 minutes, sometimes it's indulgent and I'll be there for an hour, I'll be face masking, I'll be steaming and all that. But yeah, it's just taking that time for me and saying, yeah, you deserve this time to be taken care of. And it's just one of my little practices of daily self-love. So the last one is giving myself a break. This is another pretty important one. Like I said, they're all important, but this one is quite important, and it's one that I've learned in later years, and it's giving myself a break both mentally and physically. I feel like I've definitely learned the hard way with this one. There's been periods where I've really struggled with anxiety, and I know now that I need to be aware of when to give myself breaks, because it's all too easy to kind of get into a flow with things and not stop because you feel like you can't stop. And I think this kind of ties into what I said a little bit earlier, like with yoga, because that to me ties in a little bit with meditation and giving myself those breaks mentally. I've done a video, I think it was at the end of last year, about taking a digital detox. That was amazing for me. I'm definitely going to do one of those again at some point this year. That's kind of giving myself that time off mentally, but also even physically, as much as I said movement, also having compassion for your body when it does need a break, when you do need to rest, because you know we all need that time to take a break. And again, it's connecting to that self-compassion and just knowing that you can't burn the candle from both ends because you will burn out. So yeah, for me, giving myself a break is really important. And I do this on a daily basis, like I say, by doing things like yoga, because when I'm doing yoga I feel like I'm meditating anyway, or just having a meditation practice. Going for walks, like I say, really helps, because when I'm in that zone of having a walk, especially if I'm having a walk on my own, I do really feel at peace mentally. For me personally, that's really helpful, like getting out in nature, and literally as simple as forcing myself to have a break when I'm working at my laptop. Some days I will be procrastinating until the cows come home, but other days when I'm in the flow, I actually kind of have to force myself, like, you need to pause now, because sometimes I feel like a lot of us will know this from working from home over the pandemic, and if you work from home anyway like I do, sometimes it's hard to have a cut-off point of when work is finished. So just having that check-in with myself to be like, okay, you need to pause now, you need to have a break. And like I said, physically as well, whether it's with exercise, even if you've just been having loads of social engagements, just knowing when you need that time to just switch off and relax. So that is it. Those are some of my daily self-love practices. Let me know in the comments below, what are your self-love practices? Do you practice self-love daily? Are you new to self-love? Are you at the start of your self-love journey? I'd love to know. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please do give it a like, and please do click subscribe if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.